What is it that I see the coffee mugs for sale? Oh, filled with liberal tears.
Oh.
Yeah, see that. As I say, my coffee mug is filled with liberal tears. Yeah, I don't know how I end up on these algorithms. It's just politics come around, probably because I end up researching a bunch of different stories, and I end up on right-wing sites and left-wing sites, and I see all kinds of goofy.
If you're a right-winger, you really want to drink the tears of a liberal?
I know, that seemed really strange to me. Maybe they just mean figuratively.
I would think you'd want nothing to do with them.
Yeah, normally I just like creamer in my coffee.
Man, that's a lot of tears to fill up a whole coffee mug.
So you've got the 5 different stages of grief. You and I have talked about this numerous times. Denial, anger, bargaining, depression, acceptance.
Fear leads to anger. Anger leads to the dark side.
Boy, oh boy. Pablo, will you come get your guy here? We hit the second hour, and all of a sudden he's just out the window. He held it together for the first hour, but now it's just, he's loopy.
I'm back.
So the most passionate Democrats right now are going through those 5 stages.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I've got, I have some friends. First of all, it depends on their age. And I would say even gender. For instance, my daughter is very liberal. My son is very conservative. My other son lives with someone who is very MAGA, but is dating someone who's very liberal. So it depends on which room he's in and how he's feeling that at that moment.
What stage do you think we're on right now?
All of them.
Really?
And, well, what you have to keep in mind is when it comes to the stages of grief, you go through. It's not as though denial will last 2 days, anger will last 1 day. No, you continually cycle through these. Could be 15 minutes, could be half an hour. And so all these different stages of human behavior, they are so predictable that we can actually see them written into the headlines of the news. So let me give you an example here.
Yeah.
All right. Denial.
Mm-hmm.
Ready?
No.
Saw this headline today and I grabbed it. Where are the 20 million missing votes? Dems cling to false hopes of huge gap between Biden and Harris.
Wow.
All right. So
Okay.
that was from The Independent, by the way. Well, they're saying in less than 24 hours after Donald Trump was elected 47th president of the United States, social media users began pushing 2 conflicting narratives to suggest
The election was stolen.
bingo. One revived false claims by Trump in 2020 the vote was stolen from him, and the other questioned how Vice President Harris could have received so many fewer votes in 24 than Biden did in 2020. And those narratives hinge on this 20 million vote gap between Harris and Biden. There's no evidence that there's 20 million missing votes. We don't have that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that Dominion or Smartmatic or anybody else did it. I don't think there were 20 million ballots in the boxes that burned in Oregon and Washington. It's time to accept the fact your candidate didn't win.
I saw a headline just flash on one of the cable newses that Team Biden is claiming that if he would have been running, that they would have won. That also feels kind of like denial.
That's a different stage. That's just wishful thinking or
Looney Tunes?
Yeah, Looney Tunes.
Well, I don't think it's true. Do you have one for acceptance? Because I have
not yet.
I have yet to encounter any who are there. I think the other 4, I can agree with you. We've gotten there, but I have not seen one for. Well, we're just going to have to.
The only one I have for acceptance, and let me see, I do have it in our notes here somewhere. Yes, this was preceptance.
Preceptance.
Yeah, it's a word I made up that sounds like we're accepting it before the fact. And that is, the headline came from Politico on Halloween. Headline, Democrats say they will certify a Trump victory, even the ones who think the 14th Amendment disqualifies him, because they say treason and he's brought up on charges January 6th, so they say he shouldn't be qualified to be the president, but they will certify the election just the same. So call that acceptance. But I also think that they were basically asked a setup question by the politician. Are you going to certify him, even if you don't think he should be president? Like, listen, if he wins, we're going to certify him. That's our job. Mm-hmm. I don't know that was necessarily acceptance. That's the closest I have so far. Mm-hmm. Okay. What about this? Anger. All right, it's right here in the headline. Headline, again, this one's from Politico. Dems rage against Biden's arrogance after Harris loss. And then it actually, the subheading, Democrats livid at Biden after Trump win. He shouldn't have run.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, on Fox News. Dems finger pointing after Kamala's loss.
Yeah. So this is the anger. This is the circular firing squad that we talked about yesterday, where it's your fault, and they go, no, it's Latinos' fault for not voting. It's black men's fault for not voting.
Young women
didn't vote the way that we wanted to. So there's this you did it, and you did it, and Biden didn't do this, and Harris didn't do this, and
isn't the reality all of them?
Yeah, I think all of those things
played a role.
But it's kind of like, Joe, you're a University of Michigan fan, right?
Yeah.
Okay. It's kind of like when Michigan beats Ohio State.
Uh-huh.
What does Ohio State always say? They go, well,
it's the refs.
We didn't get our run game. It was the referees.
Mm-hmm.
Our passing game wasn't there. This crowd was too loud. Whatever it was.
Well, Harbaugh was probably stealing the signals again.
It was never. That team was better.
No.
And I think that's where we are with the Democrats right now. That team was better.
Mm-hmm.
And by the way, that's what we saw with Republicans just 4 years ago with the same candidate. This candidate figured out how to hone the messaging a little bit clearer. We went through 4 years of turmoil. He tapped into the grievances, and he did a much better job relating to the majority of Americans.
But you agree that the Republicans 4 years ago were playing the same game. They weren't saying Biden was just better. They were saying it was stolen or any number
Trump was
of
saying it was stolen. I think a lot of the other Republicans were saying our candidate was bad. Trump should have shut his mouth.
But were they saying Biden was better?
No.
Okay.
No. Mm-hmm. Because in politics, you don't do that. That almost comes across as a compliment for your mortal enemy. And look, behind closed doors, they get along fine. But out in the open, they can't possibly get along because it defies the message that they're sending, and that is that the other side is an existential threat to you, your family, and this country. How many times have both sides say this time, if Trump gets elected, it'll be the last election we ever had. Mm-hmm. And then they pulled a clip of him saying, if I get elected, if you vote for me, you'll never have to vote again. Right? He had a clip. That was his quote. If you vote for me, you'll never have to vote again. That's what he said. And the Democrats took that and they said, he's going to end the democracy as we know it.
But they both get elected off of fear-mongering the other side.
And I think it's only going to amplify now. Listen.
That's what they want. They want to play on our fears.
They're grievance farmers. But here's the
It's a terrible crop.
Here is the really bad thing about grievance farming. Suppose that you're a farmer, right? Mm-hmm. And you plant corn and you sell corn. Corn's your highest profit. I have no idea. Corn could be a crap profit. I have no idea. But just suppose corn is your best profit.
Yeah.
All right. So are you going to plow that field over and put something else down, or are you just going to keep growing corn?
Depends where the money is.
I just told you, it's in the corn.
Well, then you're going to keep growing corn.
All right, you got to keep growing corn. All right, cool. Now, I know with farming, you got crop rotation, all that other crap. Don't dive too deep into my analogy.
I'm going with you.
Okay. So now, if grievances work, why am I going to plow that field over? Why am I going to fix anything? Because the money, over $10 billion in video advertising alone this year. Forget the other billions spent on all the mailers you got in the mailbox. All that money came from planting that same crop that is grievance. Why would you fix the thing that you get to make money on?
Well, that's the most frustrating aspect to me, is I want them to work together. I want to make things better.
Me too. I want crop rotation.
And
corn's delightful, but every now and again, I want some snap peas.
And I threw something up on Instagram last weekend.
Or some frijoles.
Before Tuesday. Elote? You want some elote?
Frijoles verde.
Oh, boy.
See, I'm paying attention, buddy.
But I threw up on Instagram, like, isn't it funny that politicians, they don't reach out. They don't appeal to the voter unless they want something from you. They want your vote.
Yeah.
But other than that, they don't reach out that often.
So let me give you one last stage that they're going through here, and then we want to move on to what's going on here in Arizona. But we talked about the 5 stages of grief, right? Denial, anger, bargaining, depression, acceptance. Got another example. Depression. Headline. This headline comes from the Crimson, which is the Harvard newspaper. Mm-hmm. Okay. Harvard professors cancel classes as students feel blue after Trump win. You got Ivy League schools that are canceling classes because the students are sad. the sad part about that to me is that we are training them that when they become parents, that we need to make sure we have the feels for all the things and everything else can come to a stop. At some point, we have to work through some.
Yeah, if you don't get your way, we'll just give you a couple days off.
And that's not life. Save your sick days for when you're sick, right? Don't, I was feeling blue. No.
Thanks for watching The Chris and Joe Show. Click to see more from Chris and Joe and tap the button in the middle to subscribe to KTAR News.